Hello guys, Sid the IT guy here, and in this video I wanted to cover the last element that we had on our roadmap, which is integration of private apps on the app. So I want to thank you first if you have stuck around with me till this long. Feel free to pull my GitHub repo on your local system, build on it. You can raise pull requests. I'd be happy to do pull request reviews on my channel. So please stay subscribed. I am coming up with another playlist that might be useful to you. So please stay tuned for that. So in this video, we will cover private apps, and it differs from public apps in a way that when you build a public app, you have to submit it to Shopify for them to review it. And then if it falls into their compliance of their rules, then they put it on the App Store. Private apps do not need that. So on private apps, you can just go to your partners account, and if I log in here, so I'll go to a shop that I already have in my store section, and let me just quickly log into my store here. So this is how it looks for the store owner. And if I click on apps and I go on app and channel sales settings, and after that I can click develop apps for your store. Sorry. So I already have an app built in, but I can create another app, and I can say it Shopify private app 2, and I can create it. And there we go. That's all it takes to create a private app. So then what you have to do is configure the admin API scopes. For this video, I'm just checking everything. So if your use case allows for it, then you can customize which permissions you want for the app. 67 permissions to be exact. So go back and click on API credentials. You will see the API key and the API secret key. These two things we need. But along with these two, there is another thing that we need is clicking on this button that says install app. And when you install it, it will give you a one-time access token. So reveal token once, and you have to copy this token and keep it somewhere safe. So I don't need this access token, to be honest, for this case. So let me just close it out. It's fine. So on the app, what I did was create the Superadmin dashboard. So we can just do Superadmin at Shopify.com. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So this is the Superadmin dashboard I created, and there is not much going here. So I can click on stores, and it will show me how many stores do I have already, and it shows me which stores are public and which stores are private. And on the other screen, I have an add private store button, which will give you this form. So this is the store URL where you will put Laravel project.myshopify.com from here. Then the API key that you will get from the credentials. I'm sorry. So in app, yeah, develop apps. So the first one, click on API credentials. Yeah. So this API key you have to copy and put it here. Then the secret key, the same thing. Take the secret key from here and put it. And after that, the last thing is the access token. The access token, you will get it from here, the admin API access token. It is only visible once, so make sure you don't lose it. After that, you have to provide an email and password, because we want to provide an email for this specific store. We want somebody to be able to log in. That is why this functionality is only in the hands of Superadmin. We have not assigned it to the admin because they don't need this. So after you hit submit, then you would have your store created, and in stores, you can see this list. So this one is public and this one is private. Now where the difference really lies is the money. So I get why people don't go towards the private apps development, because all of the Shopify subscription APIs and the charges APIs are inaccessible to the private apps. You cannot make money out of private apps, at least from the Shopify perspective. You cannot use their payment gateway. You might use outside payment gateways, Stripe, Razorpay, or whatever, but you cannot use Shopify's gateways. So let me go through the changes one by one that I did. Okay, so first of all, the change that I did was differentiating how we can identify which store is private and which store is public. So in helper.php, I gave this function check if store is private. And in this, okay, not this one. So first I have to start with migration. So I created a migration to insert two new more columns into the stores table. So which is the API key and the API secret key. So these two columns are in the stores table now. You might need to run php migrate. So you can see that. After that, I used these two columns to identify which one is public and which one is private. So in helper.php, I made this function and I used it two places. We will see just in a moment why. So the API key should be set, the API secret key should be set, and the string length should be greater than 0. If this is the condition, we will assume that the current store is a private one. So, and in the store model, I also provided an isPublic method. So I'm just returning not private here. Not private means public. And the same thing here. The API key should be set and the API secret key should be set and the string length of these two should be greater than 0. That's it. I should delete this out. Yeah. After that, let's see. Yeah. So the API calls, the way we make API calls changes. So in helper.php, the URL you will see the URL function is changed. So the get Shopify URL for store that we have used everywhere, this is changed. So if the store is private, then it gives in a format of HTTPS, then the API key, a colon, then a API secret key, then at the rate, then store my Shopify domain, then the admin API, then this, and the endpoint at the end. And if it is the public one, then the usual way how it was before. And the same thing happened for the GraphQL headers. So the difference in calling the GraphQL API for the private and the public stores is the header. So the X Shopify access token, we used to send the access token of the store, but in case of private stores, we have to send the API secret key instead. So that will work. Other than that, there is not much really changed here. So, oh, and one other thing, I provided a middleware is a public store. So I had to do this because the billing is not really useful for the private API, private app owners. So I gave this middleware where I'm explicitly checking if it is public, only then return the next request. I mean, let the request go forward. Otherwise, just return back to home with error saying that this operation is only allowed for public stores. So in web.php, you will see is public app as a middleware being used in the billing routes. And yeah, for the members. So for the team members route, we were paying $2 with the Shopify application charge API. So that is also not accessible. So I exempted it from this route. Okay. And for the Superadmin, I did this thing here that it should be auth with the middleware and the permission should be all access. And then I did route resource stores. Currently, I haven't built much. You cannot delete really these stores here, so I didn't build that much because you should be able to view all the stores that have installed your app from your dashboard using the same URL with your own credentials. So that is all for the private apps. The A side, I have differentiated it in the layouts. So in layouts, if you check here, then if the role is Superadmin, then I'm loading Superadmin A side, or otherwise if the role is admin and sub user, I'm loading layouts.a side. So you can check those out. And other than that, there is not much really to go here. Oh yeah, the store function. I need to discuss this a little. So when we click add private store and we submit this form, then I created this custom form request where you would see email, password, API key, secret key, access token, and my Shopify domain. So I have put unique condition for the my Shopify domain and the unique condition for the user's email, because obviously it cannot repeat itself. So then we go back. Oh, right. So in the authorize method of this form request, I also put auth check, and auth user has to have a permission of all access. Only then it will let it go through. Otherwise, it will be returned back. So then I created the store array, and then I created this endpoint using the same thing. There is nothing much changed here. Then the Shopify headers in the same way, the API call function in the same way. So if it is 200, then that means that this API key, secret key, and my Shopify domain all are in correct combination. And I'm calling the shop JSON API endpoint. So then I'm creating this shop body, and after that I'm just merging it with the original store array that I got from here, the ID, email, name, phone address, and zip that I got from Shopify. And then the user payload, I will get the request email and password from the user from the request, and link it with the store here, and just put a name. Then I will mark that email as verified. Then I'll assign the role as admin, and then I'll give the permission which is defined in the default permissions, and return back saying instruction successful. Done. Okay, so that is all. So that wraps up. So that wraps up for this video. Check this feature out. And one last thing before we go is I created unique indexes in my last migration. So if you check my last migration, then I have defined unique store ID and ID for the customers, orders, and products table. And for the stores table, I also made the Shopify domain as unique, so it stays scalable. Okay, so last time I'll run PHP practice and optimize, and pretty much this application is wrapped up now. And in home controller, again, you will see for the dashboard, what I did was user has role at Superadmin, then get this payload, otherwise get this payload for the administrator, and return the view different for the roles. And also last thing, to register the middleware here, then I use this is public app and link this class here that I created. So this is the alias that I'm using in web.php. So you will see two places I have used this. So I think, yeah, that wraps up for this table. As I log off, the last thing I want to discuss was why people don't go towards private app, and I totally get it. Private apps don't have the access to the application charges API or the recurring application charges API, so there is no incentive. All you can do really is test out the API calls if they are working fine or not, and maybe arrange some external payment gateways, not on the Shopify platform, obviously, because Shopify won't support that. Okay, so that is all for this video. Let me know if you have any doubts. I'll be happy to clear it up, and see you with my next playlist. Peace.